Have you got an every time memory? I've got a bunch of them. I'm sure you do too. And I was just upstairs making dinner. It's Saturday. And we're having moussaka tonight, and I was making white sauce. And every single time I make white sauce, I remember a job that I had in 1986. I was 24, and I got a job, and I needed a job. So I went and got a job with at a cafe called Garfield's, and they wanted a cook, like the cook. And I had, at 24, I had no experience at all of professional cooking. But I had catered for the wedding of my dear friends, Desley and Steve. And that's pretty much it. And I loved cooking. So I rocked up to this interview and I completely convinced these people that I was the right person for the job. And of course I could cook for 100 people every day. No worries at all. My guest today is quite like that. She is bold and she's brave and she does things even when she's not entirely sure that she can do it. The other thing my guest today has is a Facebook group called, what's it called, Julie?
It's called Awesome Women.
Awesome Women. And that is you, my darling. Welcome.
Well, thank you for that intro. I have to just quickly tell you about Awesome Women. I got a message from someone who wanted to join Awesome Women not that long ago, and I hadn't heard of this person, so I did a bit of investigation and made contact with them. It turned out it was a man from Russia who thought I was offering awesome women. So
yeah.
Not the intent of the group, no.
Okay, yeah, no. That's a different kind of awesome, really, isn't it?
Anyway, there you go. Lesson learned.
That's so funny. Well done. Nice vetting.
Yes.
So, Julie, what's your first piece of random shit that you're going to share?
Oh, well, look, I don't know if you're going to be able to see these, but let's see. I'm going to try and hold them up. Can you see what I've got in my
yes,
hands?
some shells. Yep.
Some shells. Now, they're very smooth and very yummy, and
they look beautiful. Don't drop them on live video.
No, but I've just put sand all over the keyboard. But anyway, look, these bits of random shit I wanted to show to you, because every time I see these, which is every day, they're next to the bathroom sink, I think about the beach that I picked them up on. And I know you're not supposed to take home stuff from the beach, but it's an amazing beach in Hobart called Carlton Beach. And it reminds me of a movie called Local Hero, which, anyway, going off on a tangent, but about a place in Scotland where part of the movie is about the incredible sea life and shells and things that get swept into this beach because of the current. Well, this beach at Carlton in Tasmania, just near Hobart, is the same. It's the East Australian current comes down the coast, sweeps, through Bass Strait or next to Bass Strait, comes down and then turns the corner at the bottom and then dumps all of this stuff on Carlton Beach. And
wow.
So you can get, you can pick up shells and all sorts of bits and pieces that are just, got fascinating stories. And I often walk that beach and think, where did you come from? What kind of a journey have you been on? And I haven't seen anything quite like that on another beach in Hobart.
Is that a bit like in Finding Nemo, when Nemo's dad came down that East Australian current, but they jumped off at Sydney, didn't they?
Yeah, well, you can keep going, apparently. And actually that makes me think about a guy I used to work with who's actually a marine biologist down here. And because of the warming temperatures in the oceans here, more species are making it further south on the EAC. So we're having lots of problems in our waters down here with traditionally colder water species now being outcompeted by these species that are starting to take up residence. So it's causing some issues down here. Yeah.
Plenty of changes afoot, that's for sure. Okay, thank you. I'm going to share my first piece of random shit, and that is on camera 3. Thanks, Matt. A little collection of my business cards. So I alluded earlier to a job I had at Garfield's. I didn't get a business card for that, but I've got a truckload of funny stories. But I've got a bunch of business cards here, and they kind of go from early in my career with Positive Image Photo Library, and we've got PI Productions, we've got Nutritech Solutions, and the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation, the Kitchen Garden Teacher, and the old ambulance station. I think that's
in
it.
chronological order.
I know. Were you impressed?
I'm very I was thinking, how far back do I know you? But definitely Nutritech anyway.
Yeah, Nutritech. I think that was when we met. And you know, I seriously got into, I was probably seriously into food prior to that, but I got more into the growing side of food after that time. And, you know, I think that, I was thinking the other day, how many pages would your CV run to, Julie?
My personal
Yes.
CV. Oh, Lord. Funny you should bring that up, Robin. I've just managed to condense it into 6 pages. And then I've actually produced a 2-page, it's kind of like a Reader's Digest, concentrated, 8-point font kind of.
The abridged version.
But, about 6. And actually someone advised me that maybe it wasn't such a good idea necessarily to list everything that I've done. But I don't know, for me, it's all part of the rich tapestry of experiences that have brought me to today. So it feels, I'm in two minds as to whether to leave stuff out. But I don't know what the dumb thing is with resumes these days.
No, I don't know either, and it just gets harder and harder, and now is, it's a particularly difficult time, but certainly once you get over, and I mean, it's difficult just across the board for work at the moment, and, young people have got so many challenges in getting some work now, but it hasn't been easy for women over 50 either, has it?
No, women coming up to 60 even.
Yes. Never mind.
I feel a bit sad about the fact that oftentimes older people are, I think there's a bit of, not prejudice, it's probably too strong, but I do feel there is a bit of ageism in the marketplace in terms of employment. And yes, I mean, the challenge is for us oldies to stay current with technology and to keep up with the latest this, that and the other. But I think what often gets forgotten is that we bring with us all sorts of wisdom and experiences that give us, I think a good perspective on certain issues. So, how do you put that into a resume without sounding wanky? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think we just sound wanky. Yeah, that's okay.
Can I share with you another piece of random shit?
Yeah, please do. It's your turn.
It's I don't know if you can see this little wallet.
Oh,
here.
yes.
Now, my dad passed away 5 years ago, nearly 6 years ago, 6 years ago. And recently his partner has gone into an aged care facility, and we inherited a whole heap of his bits and pieces that she was hanging on to. And it was a very interesting process because it was, for me, about reclaiming some parts of my dad that I felt I had lost. But tucked away in one of the boxes of books, I don't know, 17 or 18 boxes of books. He was an English professor, and children's literature was his thing, was this little black wallet, and I didn't think too much of it. And the other day I actually opened it to have a little look, and talking about cards, his driver's license.
Wow.
With a photo.
Yes.
And his Velocity frequent flyer card, and oh, what's this? His library card, and so on. And it made me stop and think, because these objects are not the sort of things that you generally hang on to when you're thinking about someone or wanting to have a memento. But actually, these were things he used every day.
Yes.
And it's almost like they're imbued with his day-to-day energy, you know, him as a functioning human being. And it was really interesting. And I mean, look, there's no usefulness to them at all, and they're kind of not the sort of thing I'm going to sit on a shelf or frame or anything, but I'm going to keep them, at least for a while. I just thought it was a really fascinating find. That was actually a pretty recent discovery.
Yeah, look, I'm with you completely on items like that. I've got something that I wasn't going to share now, but of my dad, who kept my swimming time. So I would go, I did competition swimming, and Dad would keep my times. And it's like from 1974. It's a little book. What am I going to do with it?
But what care? How? I mean, isn't that amazing that he kept it?
Yes.
I mean, it meant enough to him to keep that in his belongings.
That's exactly right. So my actual second piece of random shit is also business cards. So in my continual reinvention of myself, as evident in these business cards, is and that real hunger for work. You know, it's a continual thing, isn't it? If you don't, maybe I'm just going to speak for myself. I left school at the end of year 10. I have no qualifications. I've got, you know, decades of experience, but no qualifications. So it's this continual, where's my next job coming from? How am I going to make the thing that I'm doing now make money? You know, all of that sort of stuff. So I became a serial networker. I would go to the opening of a door, a window even, and particularly if there was food, and which is where you and I came across each other, was at foodie events. And so this little deck of cards here are just some of the cards I've collected from people in the Sunshine Coast food industry.
Wow.
I know, because I'm thinking to myself, and my kitchen garden teacher kind of alludes to that, but, you know, how do I get work in this food industry, which is an industry I adore? And, yes, so there you go. There's a bunch of cards. I really should get rid of them. But maybe one day I might like to ring Amanda Richens from My Carrot, Growing Quality Brands, she did, or Dr. Simon Tannock from Alga Enviro. I've got, of course, Martin Duncan from Sunshine Coast Foodie, who's just the dearest person to us both. Jason Virtue, Training Director from Land Life Education. You know, you're all here in my collection of cards. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Well, that's beautiful. I actually did take some time to scan a lot of those cards into my contacts. You know, found an app put it on my phone, and only because, as you alluded to before, I've moved around a fair bit, and I've had to pare back a lot of my stuff, and or my shit, and, you know, not so random shit.
Yes.
I still have a shipping container full of random shit at Cumber Park.
Oh, really? Still up here?
Yeah. So,
nice one, Julie.
A household here and a household there, and
here a household, there a household, everywhere a household.
I really like one in the Bahamas, but anyway. Can I show you my next piece?
Yes.
Because this is a daggy, I don't know if you can see, raggedy edged. It actually was a white shirt, but it's kind of yellowed now. But the reason that I picked this up the other day, and I don't see it.
Here.
This is from the first Real Food Festival. Oh, look at that. What year's that one?
That one is 2013.
Ah, So back in the early days, I went for T-shirts. So this is the 2011 one. And I got to tell you, it really stinks.
Haven't you washed it?
Well, I have. It's just really old.
Yeah.
I sleep in this, and even though it probably should be sent to the rag bag or whatever, I'm going to keep it because what heady days they were, Robin.
You are amazing, Julie, and I loved the work that you did with the Real Food Festival. It was an astonishing thing, and slow food hinterland, and you are just an absolute inspiration, and you've always been inspiring me in the way that you just get in there and do stuff.
Well, look at you. You're running a blooming Saturday.
Yeah. But that's just me talking, Julie. I can talk underwater. Everybody knows that.
Well, look, I took my kind of similar desire for starting new things and being able to talk underwater and started a radio show last year.
Yes.
Which was fantastic. We called it Dinner with Julie and Carlos. My co-host was called Carlos.
That's handy. If he was called John, then the name just wouldn't work, would it?
But the whole idea was that from 6 to 7 on a Thursday, everyone would tune in and have dinner with us. But each week, the theme was about how food influences an aspect of our lives. So we had food in the movies, food and travel, food and science, food and sex. We had all sorts of episodes, and we would bring guests in to come and have a chat with us. And
so are you still doing that? It sounds fabulous.
It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Carlos got busy with other projects, and then it was a community radio station that had some technology issues, and the whole thing kind of stopped for a while. But I'd love to get back onto doing that. Maybe when I come back to Queensland, we can have a show together.
That'd be fun, Julie. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a particularly good face for radio. So it would certainly suit me to go back into radio. But, look, I think these conversations are really important, Robin. I think they're important in terms of engagement, but being able to raise issues, being able to explore ideas, to give people, I guess, like the Real Food Festival, a portal through which they may choose to step and find out more information and explore further, or just have it purely as an entertainment experience.
That's right, or just to share random shit.
Just to share random shit.
Yeah, because, let's not place too much importance on our lives at this point in time. And, I think that we can just add a little bit of levity to the current situation, can't we?
We need it. We so need it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. It was wonderful to talk to you. Yeah. We'll see you sometime.
At the end of the year.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can smell our moussaka cooking. What are you having for dinner tonight? I'd like you to tell me. My sister Sue says, crikey, you've got more random shit than I realised. I have. This is just the beginning. Episode 23. We've got a long way to go. Thanks, Julie.
Oh, my pleasure. That was fun.
That was fun. So what's happening at the end of the year? You coming to visit or you coming to live?
Ollie and I are moving back to Queensland.
Wow.
So, yes, big changes.
Yeah.
It's going to be another adventure full of uncertainty and challenge, and I'll be flexing my resilience muscles once again.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're pretty well honed.
Yes.